And father stops his car during a snowstorm to help someone else, and a second later is gone.
Ben was unique, displaying some of the greatest character traits I've ever seen in anyone.
West Easy, Detective Campbell. You are now 10-7. We have the watch from here.
The memorial service for Detective Ben Campbell was held today at the Cross Insurance Arena in Portland. Good evening, everybody. I'm Lee Goldberg.
And I'm Lindsay Mills. Detective Campbell was killed Wednesday morning in what's being called a bizarre crash on I-95. He was standing outside of his cruiser helping another driver when two wheels separated from a logging truck passing by. One wheel rolled into the median, but the other hit Campbell. Rob Nesbitt joins us now with more on today's emotional funeral service.
Lee and Lindsay, the city expected large numbers for Detective Ben Campbell's funeral, and that's what happened. Around 3,000 people inside the Cross Insurance Arena to pay their respects. It is something we've seen a lot over the past year, the pomp and pageantry of a service for a fallen officer. One dedicated to serving others. Detective Ben Campbell, known for his infectious smile, also took his job seriously.
If there was a recipe on what makes an outstanding Maine trooper, Ben Campbell certainly had all of the key ingredients.
During the service, we learned about Ben the person.
Kindness, that is one trait that was displayed daily.
The son.
And at his center, the part that made him special. Ben had the heart of a guardian.
The husband to Hillary.
I love you.
And father to 6-month-old Everett.
I love you with every piece of my being. I promise you I'll do everything in my power to raise our son as we planned. I promise to try and have your patience and your positive outlook.
Campbell taught his family the importance of putting the needs of others before their own. On this day, his family, his friends, his fellow officers did just that and allowed us all to grieve with them. This was the 12th line of duty death for Maine State Police, the first since October 1997, when Detective Glenn Strange died of a heart attack, none quite like this, Lee and Lindsay, 4 hours long, in emotion from start to finish.
Yeah, unbelievable. Thank you, Rob, very much for that. To see more funeral coverage, simply head to our website, Facebook page, YouTube page, or mobile app. Our coverage will continue for the next 90 minutes right here on News Center, Maine.
And it definitely was a dreary day out there. The weather really reflected the somber atmosphere inside the Cross Insurance Arena.
And you could feel the mood just all around the city, and everywhere you went, you saw people waiting and lined up. And I know where Keith, you live in the area where a lot of the route was. Yeah. It was a weird, eerie day.
It's unfortunate that this is something we've seen the last couple of months more than once. But so we go from quiet and somber to snow and some pretty heavy stuff over the western part of the state and into New Hampshire. This is almost a snow squall in its intensity. I'm kind of surprised there's no warning that's been put out for it. But look at that onshore, that convergence coming in off the ocean, slamming into this band of snow out towards Sebago. And to the west there of Waterboro, if you go down 25 westbound into West Paris and Rumford, this is really, really heavy stuff, and it's going to move into the coastline very shortly. Fighting rain-snow mixture there. Meanwhile, to the north, it is a little bit lighter towards Greenville and Dover-Foxcroft, but still snow, and then it's all snow across Aroostook County. It's only been less than 24 hours since it was last snowing there. Current temperatures are supporting snow most places. Right on the border, though, in Portland at 35, so that comes down to intensity. The harder it snows, the better chance it is that it will stay snow all the way to the ground. So I think that probably will start as rain in Portland and then change over to snow. Through the rest of tonight, there goes that snow squall through here, 7 o'clock, 8, 9 o'clock over down east, and then lighter stuff pretty off and on through the rest of the evening into the early morning hours tomorrow. Guys, talking about several inches of accumulation, but I'm going to make this all go away for you by the weekend. not only mentally, but actually all go away.
Sounds good, Keith. Thanks very much. In the news now, a Portland man answers to a murder charge in connection to the death of 22-year-old Ishak Muse. 24-year-old Mark Cardilli Jr. appearing in a Portland courtroom this morning, facing a judge for the first time. His lawyer pleading not guilty on his behalf. He was arrested last week following the deadly shooting last month that happened inside his family's Milton Street home. Cardilli is being held without bail.
Attorney General William Barr is defending his decision to send a letter to Congress detailing Special Counsel Robert Mueller's principal conclusions. He says the public would not have tolerated waiting weeks for the information. Mueller concluded his Russia probe last month and submitted nearly 400 pages of confidential reports to Barr. Barr sent his 4-page letter to Congress 2 days later.
We've learned a child in Maine has died from the flu. That's according to the Centers for Disease Control. The child was from Washington County. The flu remains widespread in Maine, with cases reported in all counties. Maine hospitals reporting over 900 cases of people hospitalized with the flu.
Actress Felicity Huffman and 13 others have agreed to plead guilty in the college admissions scandal. Now, Huffman, who was outside the federal court in Boston last week, you're about to see her, she pleaded guilty to 1 count of conspiracy to commit mail fraud and honest services mail fraud. The actress admitting to paying to rig a college entrance exam for her older daughter. Plea hearings for 3 of the 14, including Huffman, are scheduled for late next month.
And speaking of that college admissions scandal, there's some confusion about why the defendants are charged with mail fraud or conspiracy to commit mail fraud. A viewer named Bonnie writes, "Why is college admissions scam considered mail fraud? I have been unable to find an explanation anywhere as to why it falls under that law."
So we did a little digging, and according to the Department of Justice, there are 2 elements of mail fraud. The first refers to having devised or intending to devise a scheme to defraud or to perform specified fraudulent acts. The second refers to the use of mail to execute or attempt fraudulent acts. So, mail fraud in this case refers to the first element of the definition.
We also reached out to the U.S. Attorney's Office in Massachusetts, which is handling the case. For clarification on that, they said they do not comment on charging decisions. If you have a question you want the Now team to answer, send us an email at asknow@newscentermaine.com.
Other news now, policy leaders from Facebook and Google are condemning hate crimes and defending their company's policies on hate speech. This is at a congressional hearing. The House Judiciary Committee is holding a hearing on the spread of white nationalism and hate crimes, including the part that social media plays in fostering extremism. Facebook and YouTube have policies in place to prohibit violent and hateful material, but many critics say they don't go far enough, and hate groups use those platforms anyway. The hearing was prompted after the shooting in Christchurch, New Zealand last month, where the shooter live-streamed part of his rampage on social media. All right, still to come, a little lighter news now. Home opener for the Red Sox, Jess Gagne, will be live at Fenway Park. Have an update for us.
And a new company in Texas is trying to make the rideshare experience safer. We'll explain. Hey everybody.
Hey.
For those who've been with us all day on Facebook, thank you so much. It was hard to look away. I know a lot of us who were in the station today had the live stream up of the funeral services for Detective Campbell, and it really was something that kept your attention for the entire time, longer than 4 hours.
Yeah, it was heartbreaking.
Yeah.
It really was. I mean, they just have a baby. They think they're, he's 31 years old. And
he would have been 32.
Yeah, so he's 31. They've got a 6-month-old baby. They're literally just starting their life.
Mm-hmm.
And to think about every single course of each person involved's day that led to that exact place at that exact time where the tire would come off. I mean, it's just bizarre. It doesn't even cover it. It's just awful.
I know. There's no really other way to describe it.
It's funny when you think about that, how every little step of that day affected the ultimate outcome. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you stopped to get gas, what if you didn't? Then he would have been gone 5 minutes further up the road, or just like little things that just affect every decision that ultimately happens. For every action, there's an equal
I've been thinking a lot about, there's this couple I met late last month. We featured their story, the Folkingham family. They were featured as part of our blood drive. They benefited from blood transfusions because they were in a terrible car wreck, one in which they both broke their backs. Sydney, the wife, had to be airlifted. And they said it's just crazy to think we were in line at a Dunkin' Donuts waiting for our morning coffee on the way to do a regular errand, and the line was too long, so we left. And they said, well, if we had just waited in that line, would we have not gotten in that crash? I remember the rest of it. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Yeah. So it's brutal. Yeah, it is. Hey, Isaac, do you see that shot? Do you know what's happening to the Now set? Isaac, no. Do you see that shot? Isn't that like super hot behind? Okay. I just didn't know if you saw the same thing I saw. Okay. After a slow start to the season, the Red Sox hoping that a little home cooking can turn things around. Including presentations of World Series rings. That's a great way to start every season, right? Jess Gagne live at Fenway. How's it going down there, Jess?
Haley and Lindsay, yeah, it's incredible as usual, as every opening day here at Fenway Park is, but this one, like you said before, a little bit more special. Today was about celebrating last year's big win, passing out rings, and the Red Sox hopefully getting back to their winning ways, which, you know, the latter part has been difficult for them so far this season. Right now, they trail Toronto 6-5 and are fighting not to drop to 3-9 on the season. But let's rewind a little bit. I want to take you to some of the sights and sounds that we saw earlier today. The streets around Fenway came back to life, and even though it is just above freezing outside today, thousands of fans stood outside to take in all the sights and sounds. This is the 108th Fenway opening day and the 4th time this century that the team is taking the field on a high note. The championship banner was dropped before the game, and Patriots like Rob Gronkowski and Julian Edelman were on hand to throw out the ceremonial first pitch. Of course, Mainers were here as well, like they are every year. One family from Auburn says they make traveling to opening day an annual tradition.
One I remember the most was 1961. It was Yaz's first game, and he got a base hit his first time up, as I remember it.
I have been coming since '01 straight. I mean, this is my 18th one.
The reason why I come is just tradition, and for him, he's just grown it into our family where it's like a yearly thing now. I love it, so yeah.
Coming up on News Center Maine at 5:30, hear from some of the people inside the Red Sox organization about how special this moment really is. And of course, on News Center Maine at 6, we will have a game update for you. Again, still 6-5 in the 8th inning, I believe. So come on, let's hope for a win. Let's hope they can close out the home opener on a high note, guys.
You can hear the energy there, Jess, down at Fenway Park. Sounds awesome. Enjoy. All right, coming up, we know that our communities in Maine can rally when someone needs help and support, but wait till you hear this story in Florida. And April is suffering from personality disorder complex, so we're going to figure out what she's up to coming up. We are in the newsroom. Are you gonna hang out and then walk? Well, I think we can chat for a little. Sure. I gotta bring my elevation device. Oh, okay. All right, what's going on, guys? What's going on? Yeah, Roger, that was unbelievable. J-Bar, what we're asking is we're going to be getting a newsroom remodel. They are redoing literally everything that you see, pretty much.
is getting redone, but the now set is staying intact. So, Bill, maybe you know the answer. It's a viewer question. Are we turning around, though? Okay. So we'll be facing, so the monitors will be in our background. So next week, you'll notice a difference, besides the fact that the other Lee will be sitting next to Lindsay.
But
okay, we're not going to talk about that right now.
If it makes you feel better, this is real behind the scenes. We don't even have a new show open. So, like, you are still going to be in the show open. Let's take a bet.
Forever.
I'm going to guess for weeks.
How many? How many weeks?
I bet you will be in the show open for maybe not a month's worth, but maybe 3 weeks. Yes.
I want at least 3 weeks of me staying in the open.
I'm saying
until summer.
Until summer.
Yeah.
End of summer.
Sammy says till the end of
we
summer.
have to go out there.
Yeah. They just superimpose it. Lee is actually Teddy sitting at the desk when he's talking to me. Yeah. So if it makes you feel better, that's the situation.
Gone but not forgotten.
Right.
I'm never going away. You can't get rid of me.
Sad. Very sad.
Stand by.
Rideshare apps like Uber and Lyft are supposed to make our lives a little bit easier, but they do come with some safety concerns.
Yeah, there's a new company in Dallas, though, that is pledging to go above and beyond when it comes to the screening process. Take a look.
Yeah, using a rideshare company has become a way of life. You pick up your phone, download an app, request a driver, and off you go. But unfortunately, while this is super convenient, we've heard of things going terribly wrong. So there's a new company here in Dallas that wants to make riding just a little safer for you. Hey, Alex, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Everyone, this is Alex Halbadair. She is with Alto, a brand new company here in Dallas.
Yeah, so Alto's a new ride-sharing company in town. We launched about 3 months ago.
So, you know, you look at all these different rideshare companies,
Yeah.
and each one has a different way of how they vet their drivers. How do you guys do it here at Alto?
The most important thing is that every single driver of our company is a W-2 employee. We conduct 2 different background checks and an in-person interview, as well as 3 days of in-car training with a supervisor.
So there are some major differences between Alto and rideshare giants Uber and Lyft. According to their websites, Uber and Lyft don't require in-person interviews to become a driver, and customers only pay per ride. Alto requires a $12 monthly fee on top of the ride price, but they have someone keeping an eye on every single vehicle at all times. Uber and Lyft will pick you up from anywhere, but for now, Alto is only picking up riders in Dallas, but they'll drive you anywhere in the area. So safety really seems to be this driving inspiration behind all these changes across our city. In fact, starting next week, if you take a rideshare company here to Deep Ellum, you're going to have to use one of 5 specific staging areas. So one of the areas is right next to Pecan Lodge off of Main Street, but there are 4 others that you'll be able to use as well. Take a look at this map right here. The pink lines show the 5 designated staging areas where you can get picked up by a rideshare company. The green lines show where those cars can line up as they wait for their riders. And you see that shaded area right there? You will not be able to get picked up on any location in that area unless you're at one of those staging locations. And I talked to officials here in Deep Ellum. All these changes will go into effect starting next week on April 18th. In Deep Ellum, I'm Ariel Placencia.
Okay, so I would do that. I mean, I don't love the thing the kids are doing with the pickups and the things. Like, I'm an old school taxi guy.
Yeah.
But those rules and regs make me a little more interested in maybe looking into something.
I wonder if it could work here.
Yeah, you know, and there's still a lot of cities where taxis are still better. Like, whenever I go to New York, I'm not going to try to find an Uber in the sea of taxis.
Right.
You just put your arm up and you're there.
It's funny, the last time I was in New York, I used a taxi.
Yeah,
it was easier.
It truly is still better there. I think
Yeah.
it's more rural areas like Maine that Uber excels in.
Right.
You know, try to hail a taxi out in Saco in the middle of the night. It's just not going to work
A lot
out.
of
So,
rules
you
to
know?
consider, though, with that app.
You might get somebody,
Maybe stay
but
there for a
you're
while.
not going to get a taxi, that's for sure. All right, let's have a look outside. We've got a snow squall on the way here, and it's coming down pretty good in through western parts of the state into the mountains and into New Hampshire. It is changing over to rain along the immediate coastline, at least for the time being. I think that won't last too long, though, as we will get colder air in here and change things over out towards Sebago, Harrison, West Paris, Rumford, and into Kingfield, Carrabassett Valley, coming down really heavy. Getting some video from out of there right now as well. In Greenville, a little bit lighter, and then light over Aroostook County. This was our second storm system that we talked about yesterday. It's not as large a storm as yesterday's, but it does have some snow with it that's going to bring us a few inches of accumulation in a lot of spots. Temperatures just freezing or below in a lot of areas. Mid-30s in Portland, and that's where we're changing over to rain. Same with Portsmouth at 37 degrees, and 34 in Rockland is right on the line. You can get wet snow with that temperature, but it's kind of hard to get it to accumulate. So through the rest of tonight, you can see the snow continues to move eastward pretty quickly. The heaviest stuff will be offshore. Through the rest of the evening, it'll be lighter intermittent bands of snow, but temperatures will be below freezing in most spots, so it'll be enough to accumulate some of this on the ground and on the roadways a little bit, at least through the first half of the evening. And then tomorrow morning, still some snow showers around. We should turn the corner by tomorrow afternoon, and it looks like a nicer end to the day. So this map, slight change from yesterday, not a huge difference. I had 2 to 4 over the whole state, but with those initial boundary layer temperatures a bit too warm along the coastline, Todd changed this morning to coating to 2 inches along the coast. So I buy that. I think it's a very low chance of getting over 2 inches along the coastline, or even about 50, 60 miles inland. But 2 to 4 easy into the rest of the state. The mountains probably realistically are looking at 5 or 6 inches of snow from this, and same deal with northern Maine. But we wanted to keep the map pretty simple because it's April and we don't want to get too complicated with the snow maps. There we are through the morning on Wednesday with a couple of snow showers. Again, Wednesday afternoon looks good, and then Thursday looks great, and this is when we start to turn the corner. Upper 40s, probably some low 50s around on Thursday afternoon, and then Friday we at least start with a lot of sunshine. Some clouds roll in on Friday night, and then we see a couple of rain showers Friday evening. However, that's not going to be a big deal because once that's out of here, we downslope on Saturday. This is more to Lee's liking. 60s, perhaps some 70s on Saturday afternoon, and all will be forgotten. Maybe not, but forgiven temporarily. However, we are still watching a storm on Monday. At this point, it looks warmer than it did yesterday, but it is not a slam dunk rain event just yet. The weekend actually looks really good, much like last weekend was really nice as well. So
that's timing out, all right?
Yeah, it's kind of, the weeks haven't, like this week hasn't been nice, but like I said, ask somebody on Saturday afternoon about it.
Saturday afternoon, I feel like I'm going to be driving to Sanford.
Just get the 70.
I want to get to a 7.
Get the 70.
That's the only 7 I saw on the map. I am driving there.
There might be more of them, but
I'm
trying to play the conservative route right now.
I've always called you that.
I know. Yes, many people have.
Super conservative.
Hey
That's
guys,
definitely
our Maine Diego days are numbered.
I know, man. Diego.
We talked about it in the morning the other day, though. It's still alive.
There's a show on in the morning?
Todd
what time is that on? It's like 4:30.
Really, really early.
4:30 or 5.
I'll call you every day on my way to work. Don't worry.
I caught it a few times when Luca was a baby, and that's been the end of it.
Luca's still a baby.
When he was a baby.
Baby.
I was going to say, my gosh. Send him out on his own. He's 1.
He's already doing ride shares. Guys, you have to listen to this. A Florida community is coming together to give a young woman and the 5 siblings she's raising something they definitely needed, their own car. The Orange County Sheriff's Office says 20-year-old Samantha Rodriguez has been taking care of her younger siblings, their ages 6 through 15, after they lost their parents to cancer in recent years. The Sheriff's Office first introduced the community to the family when deputies surprised them with presents at Christmas. That story then prompted a group of anonymous donors to come together and buy Rodriguez a Nissan Versa to help get around with those siblings she's taking care of.
Oh, so great. So
Very
great that
sweet.
they're doing that. Excuse me, for her.
Yeah.
All right, so Twitter is changing the number of accounts that you can follow every single day. This is an effort to help stop spam and bot accounts. The social media company says that they're limiting accounts to 400 follows per day. You used to be able to follow up to 1,000 people in a day. Twitter says it found that having a high daily follow-unfollow rate does contribute to spam. So if you've reached your daily limit, you can follow more accounts after a day has passed.
Interesting.
There you go.
Okay. A new study revealing just how much money teens are spending each year and where they like to shop. Teens are spending an average of, I bet you would know this answer, Lee, better than I would, but $2,600 a year on clothes and food. That's according to Piper Jaffray, who surveyed 8,000 teenagers from all across the country. The overall favorite apparel brand among teens remains Nike, followed by American Eagle and Adidas. Young men are spending the most money on food, while young women are spending money on clothing. When it comes to food, teens turn to chains like Chick-fil-A and Chipotle. The survey estimates that teenagers accounted for $75 billion in overall spending last year.
Yeah.
You know what the kids are spending on.
Great. Oh, yes, I do, because I know whose money
You're
it is,
spending
too.
on it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Robotic technology is giving some sick children in Poland a chance to visit a zoo, but from their hospital bed.
Cool.
Leosh, the robot rolls through the city's zoo, showing a live stream of the inhabitants. The robot was conceived by a Polish animal lover whose own son was diagnosed with a genetic muscle wasting disease a year ago. The robot is controlled by a computer or a mobile device and accompanied by a zookeeper or a volunteer who will then explain facts about the animals to the child that is controlling the robot. That is really cool. There's a place where technology is definitely making things a little bit better.
It's making an impact for sure. A lot more coming up on News Center Maine at 5:30. Let's check in with Cindy Williams for a preview. Hey, Cindy.
Hi, guys. We're going to have more on the funeral services today for Trooper Ben Campbell, killed in a freak accident last week. This is just the latest in a string of services for first responders over the last year. We're going to look back at what has been a really painful year for our public safety community. Plus, cities in Maine have lost hundreds of thousands of dollars in state funding every year, and they say that has put more and more pressure on local property taxpayers to pay for things like roads and schools, what they want from the state. It's all ahead at 5:30. Back to you.
All right, Cindy, thanks so much. Stick with us. Raindrops when we come back.
Thanks, Billy.
Sweet.
Okay, if it's a book, we got the blend of the drop. And then we're good. What are we dropping today? Do we know what it's about?
I don't know. Paul says he has no interest in ride shares.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not against them. I mean, I guess I understand it. It's probably super convenient for people who want to make a side living and for people who want the convenience of being able to go on your phone and go bleep and then they come get you. So, I mean, I guess I would want the screening process. It doesn't have to be quite like what they're doing in Dallas, but I feel like it should be more intense than just being able to jump online, fill an application, and boom, you're all of a sudden a Lyft driver. Like,
right.
And I don't know what the process is, so don't yell at me. It might be harder than that, but it feels like it's easier than that. So if Lyft and Uber have stricter security precautions that are in place for their hiring, they should be advertising that, because I think there's perception that it's maybe not. So if it is, they should tell people. But I don't remember also, oh, by the way, hearing a whole bunch of unsafe Lyft or Uber rides. I feel like they're very rare, right? I don't think that they usually, I've heard as many cab driver stories as I've heard Lyft or Uber driver stories.
True. And I feel like the stories we hear are just so, like, out there. Yeah. You know? Like, they're just so crazy. And that's why they make headlines. But there's not a lot of them.
This is topical.
Oh, yes! Keith knows what I'm into.
Like that DJ Khaled sound effect.
Another one.
Who are you going after today?
I'll plug that in after.
All right.
Yes, this is my beat.
This is a big one.
This is my beat.
They're talking about it in Biddeford.
Yeah, that's
Hey, 2 weeks? Or in a week now they'll vote on it.
Are they doing a ban or are they doing a charge?
Charge.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a little different?
Well, no, it is a ban, but then they might.
And then there could be a charge.
There could be a charge,
ban
yeah.
is plan A.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, I will tell you that.
I remember reading Lindsay Mills' story on the Morning Report, and I was like, here's Lindsay Mills. And I was like, yes. Did I take a picture of the script and text it to you?
Did you?
I think I
we
did.
had exclusive content.
No.
Not anymore.
I'm going to be picking all your stories.
That didn't last long.
Yeah. I'm going to be stealing all your stuff.
Stand by.
All right, rip from the headlines.
Today's Raindrops relates to a story that Lindsay did recently about Biddeford considering a plastic bag ban, and Portland has a charge, and a lot of communities do. Okay, here's the gist of it. Go down a little bit. They actually did peer-reviewed studies on this, and particularly in California, they took one county that did it. Let's just stop there for a second. And they tracked what happened to other types of plastic bags after the ones in stores were banned. And look at what happened with 4-gallon bags, 8-gallon bags, and these are the bigger bags, so those didn't change much. So the problem, what happened was that people were using them and reusing them for dogs, pick up after their dogs,
right,
or other like little household items they needed. Now these bags are thicker, so they actually use more plastic. So at the end of the day, they lost almost half of their plastic savings in other types of bags. Also interesting, when I did more research on this, is the jury's still out on plastic versus paper. You would think it's paper, right, for sure. The problem is that paper has a huge carbon footprint because you have to obviously knock down trees and whatnot, even if you're recycling, say, 50% of it. And the other thing is the plastic bags are actually a byproduct from burning natural gas. They use a chemical from that to make them. So everything's not as it seems. It's a good idea to try this, but there are some inadvertent side effects to
We got to be watching where
it goes.
That
it doesn't go
harm is
away. The
shifting.
need doesn't go away.
Right.
Sure.
So
good in theory, but we
Yeah.
need to make sure that we know what we're getting.
The chart tells you something.
I'm all
This
about the
is
plastic
interesting.
bags for the dog, by the way.
Yeah.
So
And
like,
for
do you
the
want to pay
little
5
trash
cents for the
barrel.
bag? I go, yes, I do.
Yeah, I'll take.
Yes,
I'll take-
I do. In
I've
fact,
got
I
a
want
little
extras.
dog, so
give
it's
me
no
10
big deal.
extra bags. It's worth the 50 cents.
Yep.
All right, well, that does it for us.
Wait, that's on?
Oh, actually, I am curious about this.
We're hearing a lot
We're
of
gonna
words
talk
in our
more.
ears.
We need a stretch. No, we don't. We
Yeah.
need a stretch. No, we don't.
She's curious.
I think the official word is no, we don't.
We will address it tomorrow.
So now we
Yeah,
can
I do
go.
have a follow-up question. We'll talk about it
Take it away.
after we
News
send
Center
it to News
Maine
5:30.
starts Great time. Hey, wait. Hi, Facebook. Welcome to live TV.
Bye, guys.
Yeah, the paper versus plastic thing.